Hello, welcome to day 14 of 99 Days of Deeper Embodiment. My name is Jason King. I'll just take a moment and wait for others to join. I feel that it's important to relate that this is 99 days of deeper embodiment. So, the way that I'm speaking and to whom I'm speaking is quite high level, which means that there's probably not a lot of interest in what I'm sharing about at the moment, and that more interest will arise on a future timeline. And it's also likely that as I'm sharing about deeper embodiment, that some of what I'm sharing may be difficult to conceptualize, which is quite the point. Because if it was something that was easily conceptualized, then there wouldn't be embodiment happening. You see, as we embody deeper, then the entire idea is to move outside of the mind. And so anything that can be conceptualized is missing the point. However, in order to stay focused on embodiment, we need a container or a structure of concepts in order to keep us stable in our process of embodiment. And so there are ways of speaking about it that are helpful in that sense. It's like, oh, this is arising, this is what is happening. There are ways of verbalizing it. There are ways of speaking about it. They recognize exactly what is unfolding and are aware of how to address it and how to speak about it without getting caught in the thoughts. And so the process of embodiment is something that, from one way of seeing, can be seen as something that is unfolding naturally. But from another way of seeing is a process that is unfolding in time, where there is a journey or an experience unfolding. And on this journey or on this experience, then there is a viewer that is viewing the movie that is playing that is actually embodying. And we can call it embodying themselves or embodying their own spirit or embodying spirit. There's a lot of different ways to verbalize it. And so the key idea here is to not get stuck on the language, not create another story around the word, but rather drop in and feel what the word points to. And so there's a lot of teachers that dumb this down. And when they dumb it down, they create an entire, what could be called lineage around it, an entire dharma around it, an entire structure of learning around it. Meanwhile, it's the structure of learning that is limiting. And so here, the way that I'm discussing it and the way that I'm talking about it, I'm very aware in the way that I'm speaking to open up in the language in a way that shows, that demonstrates that words are not where it's at. So don't get stuck on the words. Whether we call it Holy Spirit, or whether we call it Divine Spirit, or whether we call it Spirit, makes no difference whatsoever. That's just mind going around in circles saying, oh my goodness, what is this? Oh my goodness, what is this? Oh my goodness, what is this? Oh, I'm going to name it this, and now I know what it is. Oh, I'll name it this, and now I know what it is. That's mind. Mind is what compartmentalizes. Mind is what conceptualizes. And that's not what we're interested when we're embodying. What we're interested in embodiment is feeling at a very, very deep level. Feeling all the way through the body. So interestingly enough, when I first had my heart awakening and I began the process of embodiment, because it does me. It's not something that I'm doing. There's a confusion around that as well. So when you pop into it, it begins to do you, and you begin to embody. And so in a way, this live series is targeted, directed at anyone who's already had an awakening. It's not directed at anyone who's still playing the idea of being a small self. Because if that's where you're at, if that's what you're playing, then come back to this. If you're trying to wrap your head around this now, where you're still having ideas about being a limited small self, and you're not in touch with what you truly are, then come back to this. Come back to this when it feels right. So here in Deeper Embodiment, what we're working through and is really truly embodying truth throughout all of the body. And in this way, any limiting idea, any limiting perspective, any limiting thought or belief comes up and is seen. And as it's seen, then it is released, it is purified in the purity that it always is, because you see that it's always pure. So that belief doesn't have anything to do with me. And so there's a lot of tools, ways of working through this, ways of talking about it that are helpful. And one of them I shared on my page that I feel at this moment is really something that can be very helpful. Let me just pull it up here. Okay. So there's confusion that pulls many away from truth, deeper into ignorance and away from the purity of what is. What is always now. So anytime I'm taking a foray into thinking, into imagination, then I'm not here in the present moment. So what is always here in the present moment. And in the present moment is where it reveals the profound depths of itself. And those depths are unspeakable. There are not words that can be used to describe them. However, we can say that truth is peace. So it's understood that truth is peace. As a clear seeing of what is, all conflict is dropped. There is no more ideas, so there's no more conflict. However, in embodying, there's still ideas in the body. So because there's still ideas in the body, there's still ideas of having been a person, there's still ideas of a history, there's still ideas of that aren't even part of your lifetime history, ideas of ancestors that have been programmed into the body through socially programmed into the body. Because those ideas are there, then conflict is it's a natural part of embodiment. If conflict is not arising, then the ideas aren't being met. Then we're pushing them into the shadow. We're ignoring that they're there. And so that isn't the idea of embodiment. The idea of embodiment is to recognize what's here, see it, recognize it, integrate it, feel it all the way through, allow it to be embodied. And so if what I'm feeling here is ideas that I lost somebody close to me, if I want to penetrate to the depth of that and see that loss is not real, that there could never be loss, then I have to move through what is arising. I have to allow it to drop into the heart, focusing only on the heart, and allow it to dissolve into the heart, feeling the emotion and then the core limiting belief where the identities are. And if this is not done, then I'm just ignoring what is here. I'm pushing it into the shadow. It's still there to feel through. It's still limiting my perceptual reality because there's still a belief there that says that I am this person, that other person over there is this to me, and if I lost them, if they walked out of my life, if they ghosted me, whatever, in whatever way we conceptualize losing a person, if they passed away, then there's an idea about that. And so feeling the grief around the idea first, and grief, when grief comes up and it's there to be felt in the heart, it's very strong. It is a powerful energy. Because these ideas that we've been energizing for a very long time. So we've put a lot of energy into them. So as they dissolve into the heart, it is a powerful energy. So the natural reaction when grief shows up, when these ideas shows up, is to push them away. Oh, I don't want to feel that. Okay, no. And so that is the natural reaction. So in embodiment, we are reversing what the natural reaction would be. We're saying, okay, no, I actually do want to see and feel that. Let me pull it into the heart. Oh, yes, chunky. Oh, oh yeah, I feel that. Okay, chunky, chunky. Yeah. And let it dissolve. It is a continual crucifixion in this sense. So the more embodied someone is, the more present they are in all of their body, the less ideas are running them, the less ideas are in their body, even. And so this is where it gets interesting with embodiment, is that if there's less ideas in the body, and the body has a lot more space, then the ideas that are still there around the I thought, around the identity, those ideas are really intense. feeling them. They're like wrath, rage, very intense, because the core of the I idea is a hate, a rage against what is. It is complete reversal or denial. And so energetically, it is opposed, diametrically opposed to what is. And so to feel through that, to penetrate it, is to feel intense rage, wrath, and to let that pass. Let that move through the nervous system. Let it through all the way. So moving back to the crucifixion, because this has come up and it continues to come up in 99 Days of Embodiment, because Jesus Christ is the example of embodiment. So it's very difficult to speak about embodiment in any way without bringing Jesus Christ into the picture, because he fully embodied, which is very rare. Very, very rare. So the example would be when he's on the cross and he says, my God, why have you forsaken me?" And so in that moment, that's what he's feeling. In that moment, he's feeling the depth of the agony of believing that I am separate from God. It is incredibly profound pain. So as we move together as a collective towards deeper and deeper embodiment, then it becomes really important to be aware of what comes up and what has been moving us, so that we can meet it in a way that is savvy, in a way that has the ability to hold space for it, to hold presence for it, and to not move into identification around it. And so, moving back into what I had written, there is a tactic used by anti-truth ideas to try to con you into believing that you have to behave or be nice. In other words, it's a ploy to get you to drop into a limiting idea and then play a role that does not feel authentic. I'm going to read that again. There is a tactic used by anti-truth ideas. So what would be an anti-truth idea? Anything that someone is projecting at you, or you're projecting at them. These are anti-truth ideas, because then what I'm doing is I am condensing somebody into an imagination, which there is no somebody to condense into an imagination. So I am imagining that there is a somebody. And this is an anti-truth idea, because I'm not looking at what is. I'm not here. I'm not present. I'm not feeling what is. Instead, I'm imagining that somebody is something. And I'm projecting that. So that would be an anti-truth idea. So the tactic used by anti-truth ideas is to try to con you into believing that you have to behave or be nice. This is a common tactic. Oh, you have to behave. When did we first hear that growing up? I know that I first heard that many, many times when when I was told, "Oh, children don't speak. Children listen. They're not to speak." This is a common message for children of my generation. They're not to be heard. They're there to listen. So very early on, we are taught to behave. You must behave. Fall in line. Get in line. Line up. Behave. And to be nice, to be genteel, to be polite, to be educated, this is all social conditioning. And so, And so this is a tactic when we're really, really, really a warrior for truth, when we're embodying hardcore, what comes up is that reflection right away. It says, oh, you have to behave. You have to behave because that is what I want. I want you to behave. That's shadow speaking. See it clearly. And I mentioned this in a different stream where the whole country is moving towards a Biden shift, at least 50% of the country of the United States is moving towards a Biden shift because what they want is someone to be nice, which is a trauma response, which is why I'm highlighting it. I'm highlighting it because that's not actually where embodiment is. That is shadow. If I'm listening to somebody and that somebody is making me feel a certain way, that's mine. That is not theirs. Bringing the awareness into the body, bringing the focus into the body, drops the projection. It says, this is mine. What I'm feeling is mine. It has nothing to do with what is out here. You don't make me feel a certain way. You don't have that power. You don't have that authority. What is here within my body, what I am feeling, is 100% my responsibility. That is embodiment. To take full responsibility for your domain. What I am feeling is mine. There's no one that can make me feel a certain way. I choose the frequency that I run. I connect with my own source connection, which has every frequency available that exists, and I run the frequency that I choose. And I am embodying truth, so that is the frequency that I run. I choose to feel that. So anything else that I'm feeling, any other ideas or sensations that come up, that is there for me to harmonize. That is there for me to purify. That is there for me to feel all the way through and embody deeper. So anything that's coming up around me is simply an invitation to continue to embody deeper. There is no one that is doing anything to me. That is illusion. So let's be very clear about that. If you are on this path of deeper embodiment, if you are here, if you are viewing this, and you are still believing that there is someone out there that is doing something to you, then you are full of it. That belief has to completely die. It cannot be picked up ever again. Ever again. Because anytime you pick up that belief, you are not embodying anything at all. You are in mind completely and fully. You are 100% trapped in projection. You are in mind. You are not embodying. And if you are here to embody, then you must see this and make this the priority. I own this. This is mine. The way that I feel is mine. Nobody Nobody has the ability to affect it. I do not give any thought the ability to change what I am feeling, what I choose to focus on, what I choose to run in my experience, because my experience is my own. And so this is the secret. If you just take this away and you start to work with this alone, then you begin to embody. Then you begin to dissolve the mind. Then you come into this moment and you begin to take full ownership of now. Because what is it that brings you out of now? Sensations. Sensations. Something that you're feeling that is there, that pulls you or pushes you out of now. And so now that is another topic for another day, which is, okay, now there's sensations here, and the sensations are moving me, and I see that they're moving me. And that's completely okay. That's part of embodiment, because there are some ideas that are so strong when they come up that we have to move with them. And as we move with them, then we can meet them fully. If we don't allow ourselves to move with them, then there's no way to meet them. But as we move with them, we're moving with them in a conscious way. In a way that always drops the story. In the way that holds on to none of the ideas. In the way that always moves back to center. And so there's a lot to feel here from this video. So I'm going to move us back to center. Let's just stay present in the heart, deeply feeling in the heart, in the 0 point, fully balanced, aware of the sensations, seeing the sensations that are there, and allowing them to be there fully. Fully present, clear, crystal clear, in clarity, now. And hold this. Don't move from this. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for your commitment to you. I will see you tomorrow. I love you very much. Bye bye.